wasting a single minute. We'll start our today's session now. So yes, as we covered, as you all know, what we covered in last session was what is function. So function is nothing but a set or block of codes we use generally, which we want to use repetitively. So any kind of code that we want to run on a repetitive mode. So for that reason, basically we use function. So we learned how to call a function. We learned lambda function. We checked dot print formatting, which was again we covered in previous sessions as well. We checked closure. Okay, so those are the things we learned in last session. So in today's session, before starting it, I want to give you a quick recap of how to call a function. So we'll be those who have joined for the first time, no issues. We are again repeating few things for your convenience. So yeah, start tapping out with me. Python 3. So here is my Python 3.7.3 version installed in my system. That's what terminal is telling me. So I'll clear the screen by pressing Ctrl and L. So my screen has been cleared. So yes, let's start typing out a basic function in Python, very basic. So we are considering a value. Yeah, so here we have taken a value, and inside value we are taking an integer. Just hold for a sec. Int input. Don't worry, I'll explain each and every line to you. Enter enter value, let's say. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to complete another braces, but not an issue. You can complete it on the next line. If you don't, then Python is going to show an error, because here we have taken two opening braces and we are supposed to close both. So yeah, enter value, let's say some value is 45. Okay, and now we are going to do I guess the same issue is occurring. I think there is some issue with my shift button, but okay, I guess, yeah, so sorry. I'll clear the screen and we'll call a value again. Let's say val equals to int. So it means that we are taking an input, enter val. It means we are taking our input in the form of integer. So here input means we are entering some value. So Python is immediately gonna take that value. And integer means that whatever value you're inputting is going to be in the form of integer. So if you don't put integer, by default, Python will take the value in the form of string. Okay, so even if you're putting, let's say, any integer, let's say 21, 100, anything, Python will take it as in string. Okay, and if you try to do some operation on it, let's say you divide it by some number, again, it won't happen. It will show you an error because it has taken 21 as a string. And if we try to divide it by 7 and expect a value 3, it won't come because it's considering it as a string, and you can't divide string by 7, right? So that's the reason you have to mention int here. Okay, it means we are taking the input as integer. So let's say the value of, let's say, take 21. Okay, now we are calling a function. Def is a keyword for function, so make sure you are not messing with it. So as I told you earlier, don't mess with all the keywords of Python. If, for, def, print, these are the keywords of int, input. These are the inbuilt keywords of Python, so which Python has already set. Okay, so you have to take it the way it is. These are some basic syntax of Python. As I told you, Python is a very human-friendly language, which is closer to the basic English we use. So be it for loop, if statement, or any of the function that we are calling, or after this session also, when today's session, when we will be taking dictionaries there also, you will see that Python just codes, we code in Python just like we write a basic English, basic statement in English. So Python is as simple as that. So let's take a function. You can give whatever name to your function as you want. I prefer magic always because Python feels like a magic to me. So we are taking a val in magic, it means these val. Okay, so Python will be taking this value. Now we have entered in a function def magic. Okay, so here we are using indentation and we are pressing a tab button. It means we have entered in the def function. If you don't mention indentation, that means if you don't put tab button, Python is gonna show that it's an indentation error. If you wanna try, let's try out. See, here you can see there is an indentation error, expected an indentation block. It means you are supposed to press the tab button. So by pressing the upward arrow, I'll get my all my previous statements. So here was the statement which I asked for, and I'm pressing tab button. Okay. Now we are trying to return val divided by 3, whatever operation you want to perform. Val divided by 3, val into 100, whatever you want to do. Okay. So now whatever value it had stored, that is 21, it will divide it by 3. And we expect answer equals to magic of val. It means whatever is the answer, that is 7, we are expecting it inside answer. Okay, that's it. Print answer 7.0. Now you must be wondering why there is 7.0 and not just 7, because Python always prefer a precise value, so it will always give you 7.0 and not just 7. Okay, so yeah, that's the better explanation I can give you. So all right, now let's start with today's very important session, in which we will be covering scope and how to take how to take arguments in Python. So what we call as argument means nothing but taking a value from user, okay, and not just one value. So but while taking value from user, we can just use this single line, right? But what if we want to take a huge number of values from user and we don't know where it's gonna end? So while using it function, so inside function, if you want to take some value from user and if you want to apply any function immediately to it, if you want to perform any operation to it simultaneously while calling it, okay, so that's the time when we use function, when we call a function or an argument. Okay, so there are two ways of passing an argument. So generally there are two types of argument: positional argument and keyword argument. Positional argument means whatever value you are passing, you will get it in sequential way. Okay, if you're passing, let's say 10 values, okay, and if you're not mentioning what is the first value, what is the second, and if you're mentioning A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, okay, A to J, so Python will ultimately take A as 1, B as 2, C as 3, and so on and so forth till the 10th value. Okay, so you don't have to specifically mention. And if you want to mention that I want a value of A as 5, so you will have to mention that. But by default, Python is going to take the value in sequential way, and that's why it's called as positional function. I'm sorry, positional argument. Keyword argument means whatever keywords that we are going to mention in the function. So I'll be taking an example for your better understanding, but just to explain you, whatever keywords we are mentioning in the function, Python will take the value accordingly to that keyword. Okay, so let's start without wasting a single minute. Let's start coding the arguments in Python. There are two arguments, as I told you, positional and keyword. So yeah, before that, just give quick yeses in your chat box so that I would know that how many of you are typing out simultaneously with me. Quick yeses in your chat box, please. Vishank is ready. Yeah, as always. Ristol are typing out with me or not? Rutuja is ready. Yes, Aman, Divyanshu, Jinil, and Jinesh, Mahesh, Parinita, P. Kathal, Ritik. Mahesh is ready. Great. Ristol, quickly, yes. So that we can start our hands-on session. Devanshu is also ready. Okay, great. So yeah, let's start typing out how to pass an argument in Python, so that we pass an argument in Python so that we can take n number of values from user and we can immediately apply a function or any operation to it. Okay, so that's why arguments are used. So yes, start typing out with me simultaneously. I'll clear the screen first. Def, again I'm going to take magic. You can take any name you want. So for positional argument, we use star args. Okay, you can take anything, but why 1 star for positional argument and why 2 star for keyword argument, I'll be explaining that to you very shortly. But yeah, so let's start typing it out. So I'll tell you the syntax, don't worry. ARGS or ARGV, you will see at many places, or if you are trying to check out an online course, so you will see ARGV instead of ARGS. Doesn't matter, all you have to give is an argument to the function. So it means that you are giving some argument, you are passing out some value in the function. This line just means that. Okay, we are entering in the function, so just press a tab button. So now we have entered in a function for arg in args, print arg. Uh-oh. Okay, so now what this thing is saying, def magic args, it means we have called an argument, and in that argument for ARG means, or even you can put I in ARGS or element in ARGS. This for ARG means every element in the argument that we have passed, we are going to print it. It means we are just going to print each and every statement, that each and every keyword that we have passed, each and every value that we have passed, we are going to get it printed. Okay, so that this is the simplest example I can give for a positional argument. So yes, we are calling the function now. So for calling it, we are simply gonna write down magic, and let's say cyberfrat. Yeah, cyberfrat. This is the first value which we have taken as string. Okay, you can mention any value, 21, A, B, C, anything. So we have taken cyberfrat here. Second thing we'll be taking, you can even mention your name, not an issue. Python session. Yeah, see, these three values have come. So even you are giving n number of values, you don't know where the values are gonna end. What is the end of those values? So it's like an infinite state that you want to give to your system. So that's why this thing is used. That's why arguments are used. Okay, so even if this list is infinite, you can give as many numbers as you want, and those numbers will be called sequentially, and that's why we use position arguments. Okay, let's take another example. Type out simultaneously with me, def magic. Now you will get to know that how it's passing the value. Okay, like 1 for A, 2 for B, the way I told you earlier. So it's going to pass the value in this way. Yeah, I've taken ARG and star ARGS. It means this is the set of arguments, and I'm going to call the first argument. Okay. Okay, I've entered in the loop. Print first argument. So here I want the first argument to get printed, comma arg1. It means it will print the first argument. Again, I'll go in the for loop for arg in args. Now inside that for loop, we are gonna print, what should we print? Let's say next arguments, and comma arg. Okay. Okay, So now what's gonna happen here is we are calling a magic function, okay, which we have already mentioned here, just like that, okay. Here first it will give you the first value by printing first argument is, and whatever the argument, first argument that you're passing. And for the rest of arguments, it will just pass a for loop, okay. So for next argument, you will get whatever list you have typed out. So the numbers from second onwards, the second value that you are passing, third, fourth, and so on and so forth, all the values will get printed next with this thing, next argument. So at first it will print first value, and later on this for loop will keep on passing the rest all values. So let's call the function by pressing magic, and let's say the value as, let's take today's date, 21 March, 2020. Okay, now let's see how it's gonna happen. So see, it has taken 21 as first argument, next argument as March, and the final again as 2020. Okay, so that's how it takes the values sequentially, one by one, and that's why it's called as positional argument. Moving on to the next argument, which is called as keyword argument. So for positional argument, as you all know, we use 1 star, ARGS or ARGB. Okay, that's the keyword I would say for that. And for, I'll clear the screen. I hope you all are typing out simultaneously with me. Okay, great. So now we'll start for the keyword arguments. Okay, keyword arguments is pretty simpler even than position argument, and it's passed by using 2 stars. Okay, and KWARGS is, that's a keyword for it. Now I expect you to ask me a question till the end of this topic, keyword argument. If you have any question, you can ask in the chat box. I'm expecting one question from your side, and even if you don't have any, I'll ask you. And if you know the answer, just tell me. If you don't, I'll explain, don't worry. So yes, let's start with the next argument, that is keyword argument. Keyword argument, as I told you, it's nothing but the value that we are passing, whatever keywords or whatever variables actually we are passing in the function, it will correlate it to the values that we are giving. So just note it down wherever you want, that when we pass positional argument, it gets stored as tuple. Okay, in previous, see here, this is tuple, as you all know. We take tuples in round braces, okay, and the values of tuple are, this is the 0th index value, that is, this value has index 1 and 2, and so on and so forth. And in keyword arguments, the values are taken in the form of dictionary. Okay, so in tomorrow's session, we are going to learn what dictionary is, but just to give you a basic idea, dictionary contains with a syntax of key, colon, and its value. So any key, like your name, Rutuja, roll number 1. So next value is name, was a name, let's say Divyanshu, roll number 2, and so on and so forth. So that's how dictionary has been made, right? So basically a key and its value. Okay, so dictionary has 2 values, and that's why we use keyword here. So let's start typing out, and I'll explain to you how it works. Def magic star star KWARGS. We have called a dictionary function. Enter. Don't worry, we'll be learning each and everything about dictionary in tomorrow and day after tomorrow session. And this was just a basic idea to you, just to let you know how it works. So yeah, for K comma V, K stands for key, V stands for value. So K and V in KWARGS dot items. It means, this term means for each and every key and value in the function that we have called, and for items means for each and every item, just the way we take for each element in the function. So this items means for each and every item that we are going to call. Yes, we can. I tried. I think we can use different data types. Yes, Ruchita, we can use different data types, not an issue. So it's not the thing that we argued last time, if I'm not wrong. I'll come out to that thing later. But yeah, we can use different data types, not an issue. So yeah, for K, we are going to print first of all key, then value. You can literally print KEY, key value, value, not an issue. It's just for our understanding. Key value, and let's say to separate it, we will be SEP stands for the separation of any two values. So we will be separating, as we have learned it on previous session. We will separate it using an equals to sign, double equals to sign, let's say. Okay, we are separating the key and value using double equals to sign. All right, and let's call the function now, whatever input you want to give. Let's say my name is Rutuja, and my age is 20, and yeah, I guess that's enough because we are taking two values. So here K is name, key is name, its value is Rutuja, another key is age, its value is 20, and so on and so forth. You can take whatever data you want. Okay, boom. So it has been converted in this form now. See, we expected this format to come, and it has come simply. It has taken the name as Rutuja, age as 20, with the format we expected, that is double equals to sign. Okay, that's how it works. So if you have infinite values, doesn't matter, it's gonna take the value in the same way, and that's how your keyword function is gonna work. So yes, in next 2 minutes, shoot whatever question you have regarding positional argument and keyword argument, because if you don't have it for me, I have another for you. So yes, any question, everybody? Anybody? If you have any questions, say yes. If you don't have any questions, say no, so I can ask my question. Yes, no, quickly in your chat box, please. No, Kushank has no question. Okay, rest all people, I want you to be pretty responsive. Hetu has no question, no issues. Rest all guys, quick yes or no in your chat box if you have any question, because I have one question for you. No question right now. Okay, Divyanshu doesn't have, Ruchita doesn't have. Rest all people, just to mention yes or no in your chat box. Jinal has no question. Parinita has no question. Okay, no issues, fine. So I have a question for you. Why we are using 2 stars in KWARGS and just 1 star? The star has a meaning, okay? We are not just taking it for show or for our satisfaction, okay? It's not any keyword, any value that we are taking. It has some meaning. So why, when it comes to positional value, why it's having 1 star, and when it comes to keyword keyword arguments, why we are taking 2 stars? It to show it is a keyword? No, Ruchita. For references, Kushan, can you elaborate a bit? What do you mean for for references, as in why we are taking 1 star for positional argument and 2 stars for keyword arguments? Anyone knows the answer? Shoot in the chat box. Like in C pointers. Pretty close, yeah. So yeah, I'll explain it to you. So yes, in positional arguments, as I told you, we take values. The values are taken in the form of tuples, okay? So this cyberfrag, Python, session, these all are single values in the form of tuples. So tuple contains these 3 values, okay? So it's a form of single value. That's why we are using 1 star. Here we have values in the form of dictionary, okay? Like name as Rutuja, age as 20. So here we have keys and values. Lot many keys and lot many values. So the function has to take 2 arguments from the user, okay? So that's why we are using 2 stars here. 1 star for key, 2nd star for value. And here in tuple, for whatever values we are taking, we are just using 1 argument. So the simplest explanation I can give it to you. So yeah, just like a pointer in C. As simple as that. So that's why, to differentiate that how many arguments we are taking from user or in what way we are taking it from user, we have differentiated keyword arguments and positional arguments using 1 star and 2 stars. Okay, so I hope you have got the answer. I hope everyone understood it. If yes, again, I expect a yes from your side. So yeah, Ruchita has understood. Great. So yeah, cool. Moving on to the next part. Just hold for a second. For again, for better understanding of keyword arguments, we are going to take one more example. So make sure you're typing out simultaneously with me. I'll clear the screen by pressing Control L. And let's start another example. Def magic. I'm taking, say, arguments as. So here in this example, I hope you will be able to understand in more better way. In better way, yeah. I've taken 3 arguments here. Okay, I've entered in the function by pressing tab button. Let's print arg1, comma arg1. It means it will print arg1 and whatever value that we are passing. So first value will be passed in this form, like printing arg1. Then this is 2, and by pressing the arrow button, upward arrow, I'm getting the third value now. Enter. Now args equals to, let's press again, what? Let's say, yeah, as these stay, as this is corona outbreak, so I'll say stay safe. Anything you want to pass, you can even pass your full name. Stay safe, everyone. Okay, a message, I guess, yeah. And we are going to call the function now, magic and args, the way we have passed the arguments. We have passed 3 arguments, so we are going to call it, oh, sorry, we are going to call it using star args, because these values, so, magic, star args. It means nothing but that we are going to call the values in positional argument way, one by one, and moreover, as one star indicates positional value, as these value will be coming in the form of tuple. Okay, so to call the values of tuple one by one, it will be coming in this way. So boom, argument 1 is stay, 2 is safe, 3 is everyone. Now let's merge, okay, this was positional argument. Let's merge this example with, okay, darling Ashia. Oh wow, that's a pretty unique name. He has understood, he or she. So anyways, yes, so here we have called the function, I would say we have called the function in positional argument. Now let's try to merge it with keyword argument. Okay, so yes, let's say kwargs equals to, now I'm going to show you how to call a dictionary, okay, or how to write a dictionary, values in dictionary, arg1. So yeah, this was in the form of tuple basically, okay, and this is in the form of dictionary. So here I'm going to write down the first dictionary of our whole Python session, argument 1, and let's say it's cyberfrat, comma, argument 2 is, I'm using colon because that is the syntax. So in Python, we have to remember very, very few syntaxes, and it's one of them. So basic syntax of dictionary, I would say. Here arg1 stands for key, arg1, 2, and so on and so forth. And the values we are giving is the value. Okay. Cyberfrat, Python, arg3 session. and I'm going to close. So dictionaries are open and closed with the curly braces, so make sure you are able to. So just to give you a quick recap, we use round braces for tuples, square braces for list, and curly braces for dictionaries. I guess, yeah. And now we are going to call the function magic as star star KWARGS. So yeah, as these are two values, key and argument, key and value, we are going to mention 2 stars here. Boom, same thing. So we have done both the things simultaneously so that you all are able to understand in what way we are supposed to mention the values here. So that's how I would say keyword arguments and positional arguments are called in Python. So that was a very basic thing. Okay, moving on to the next thing without testing a single movement is first class function properties. So first class function properties means in every function. So we have learned how to call a function in our last session. So we will be understanding what are the basic properties of a function. Okay, which is called as first class function. So yeah, function is instance of object type. Okay, so it means function is a collection, I would say, of all the objects. So as we have seen earlier, be it calling any value, we are using function. So to call each and every value, we basically use function, or to apply any operation on it. Function, that was the first property. Second property is function can be stored in a variable. That's tremendously beautiful, which is actually in other programming languages like it's C, be it C, C++, or Java, we all have learned that there are functions there also. So the value of function can be stored in the form of variable. Here itself, we have an example. So here, the value of function name Rutuja has been stored in the form of KW. Okay, so it has stored in the form in variables as well. So yeah, that's the second property of first class function. Third property is function can be passed as a parameter to other function. Okay, that we have learned in the last session by taking closure. Closure means nested function, as we all know. So we can call one function inside another, be it calling or giving a function. So it means we are giving a formal parameter or an actual parameter. As you all know what formal and actual parameter is here. Okay, just hold on. Yeah. So yeah, here. So here we have mentioned the function magic, okay, and mentioned the value as well. Here this function, this value is formal parameter, okay, and this value is actual parameter. So what is the difference here? Formal parameter it basically means by the name itself that we are doing the formality. We are giving the value to that function, or we are doing some operation with that function. Whereas actual parameter means we are actually calling the function out and we are actually performing something on it. That's why it's called as actual, formal and actual parameters. So yes, so that's what the third point means. Fourth point or fourth property is function can be written from a function. Yeah. So in the same example, as I mentioned, we can call the function in the function itself. Okay. So that's how function can be written from a function. Don't worry, we'll be taking examples for your better understanding about the same thing. Last property is function can be stored in any kind of data structure. Okay. Be it lists, tuples, dictionaries, and even hash tables. So I don't know how many of you know hash table. I guess we'll be taking an example of hash table in our upcoming session. This is actually not a part of the syllabus, but still I'll take an example for your better understanding. But yeah, dictionaries we have seen, be it tuples, list, any kind of data structure, for any kind of data structure. And yeah, list and arrays are nothing but same in Python. So you don't have to call any spatial array. You don't have to create any spatial data structure for array. List and arrays are same in Python. Okay, so even if you want to call a list, you can write it in the form of arrays, that is in square braces. So yeah, we can use any kind of data structures when it comes to function. That means we can use we can use the values in any way. So here we have stored it in the form of function. Okay, previously we have stored it where was it? Yeah, here we have stored it in the form of tuples. Okay, here we have stored it in the form of dictionaries, just like that. So those are the major 5 basic properties of first class function. Okay, so let's take an example, very basic example, just for your best understanding. Actually, there is no need because we have already covered those examples, but for those students who have joined it for the first time, today's session, it's for them basically. So yep. Yeah, I'll clear the screen again. Let's define a function. Let's do cube or square. Cube. Let's go for cube. So we are going to take a cube of value, a cube of variable x. So x means any input that we will be giving shortly. So we are going to make its cube by literally returning the value there itself. How cube is made? X into x into x. That means the cube. Okay. I hope you all know. And let's say res means result. So we will be storing the result by giving the value of x. So here the value of x has been declared as 10. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Now let's print res. Boom. Whatever value you are passing through the, or even it's an argument, nothing but a basic argument. Here 10 you are passing is nothing but an argument here. So whatever value you are passing, it will apply whatever operation there itself and will give you an output. Now let's do one thing. Cube. Okay, this was the first thing. F function is the instance of object type. So that's what I told you. Here we have taken the objects here. So that's what it indicates. Cube. Now I'm using another keyword here. Okay, you can use anything. Cube val. Okay, equals to cube. I've mentioned cube as UB, right? Yeah. And let's say res equals to cube val of 3. Now let's see what happens. Print res. Boom. You must be wondering, we have given value as train and why it has not shown the value as 1000 and why it has given us the cube of 3, because it's again overlapping, it's again modifying the value. As we have mentioned cube val as cube, it means we have modified the value of cube as cube val. That's why it won't be taking this value 10. Okay, simply this whole line of code is pretty simple to understand, so even by looking at it you will be understanding. It's nothing but merging of one function into another. Okay, basically. So here basically we are merging this cube value inside a cube function, and we are giving the result of cube value by passing an argument with the value of 3. Okay, that's why we have got the output as 27. I hope everyone is understanding. If anyone is having any issues, just let me know. Can we pass string as an object? Darling Ashia, just give it a try. You try it from your side and give me an answer within next 5 minutes. I want to know how it works from your side. I'll be telling in shortly, but you try it out first and let me know what's your answer. And actually you can pass. So yes, that's how the properties of function work. As I mentioned you, that function can be passed as a parameter as well, and function can be written from another function. So that's what this whole thing is about. This function is returning from another function. Also, best example of this would be the closure topic that we have covered. It's nothing but nested function, as you all know. Okay, so yeah, let's move to the next thing. Next example of this could be, I'll clear the screen. Yeah, def cube of x tab written x, where is star x. Okay, now def, anything any name that you want to take. I'm taking my cube. Now check out the syntax very properly. ARG. I'll be explaining it to you shortly. I'm entering in the function result result equals to list. Okay, tab for item in arg arg list, I guess. Yeah. Ooh. Got it. This for should come just immediately after this. How can it come even in the result? Yeah. So yeah, what mistake I've done here is I've taken another indentation mistakenly, which was not needed. So yeah, because we are doing it in the def function. Okay, we are not using it inside result. So you know why this error has occurred? Unexpected indent. So Python is so sweet that it tells you even why this error has occurred and where it has occurred. The position has also been mentioned here. So why? Because result is not any loop or something. Okay, function is nothing but a loop. If we take if statement or for loop, these are nothing but loop. It means we are doing something under it one by one simultaneously. But we are result is nothing but we are assigning a value. Okay, so there is no point in mentioning any loop in it, and that's the reason it gave us an error. So only when we are mentioning any loop, there we are supposed to use indentation. Just keep this thing in mind. So for item result, we are going to append it. As you all know what append means, it the values come one by one. So it means we are supposed to assign the values one by one by your own. Can we pass string as? Okay, that was a previous question. So yeah, darling Ashi, I'm expecting an answer from your side. Item, I guess we passed item only, right? Now I will return the result and my, I guess it was list here. Kind of tricky code, but don't worry, I'll explain to you. My list equals to my cube, and here I'm going to assign the value of cube as in the form of list, I guess. Yeah, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, any number. So what it's basically gonna do, it's going to give you a value of cube. Okay, I mean a cube of all these numbers. So that's the code. I've completed our process. Yeah. Oh, invalid syntax. My list. Oh. Okay, what's the error I'm not getting? All right, we are just experimenting here. Let's say my list, my cube. Okay, yeah, I forgot to mention enter, so I have to type out the whole code again. Basically, not an issue. For statement here, result, written result. Thanks, Kushang, again. Cool. And let's print my list. Well, we can print it outside. Oh shit. Okay, we have made another mistake that we have not defined the cube yet. Okay, don't worry. So let me explain the whole code to you again. So we were supposed to define cube first, which I mistakenly didn't. Never mind. So here, what is the value of cube? How we are going to run the code without mentioning what a cube is and what kind of uh, operation we are going to run, perform on it. So first of all, we were supposed to define a cube, which is nothing but x into x into x. So now we will be running the whole code again for the last time. Yes, I I hope you are able to understand. We are starting our code from this line. Okay. Result list for item in ARGS. Result append. Written result. My list, my queue, and print my list. Again, but I have defined my list here. Still it's showing the error that my list is not defined in module. Most recent call last file std. Last line should be out of the function. Yeah, it's out of the function. Oh, makes sense. I got it. I hope this is the last time I'm running this code for item in ARGS result append. I'm extremely sorry for your confusion, but don't worry, I'll explain it to you. My list. Boom. Print my list. Push. Finally, we have got our code. So yes, it has started from here. So basically what we have done here is we have given indirectly the formula of what is the cube. So here we have defined a cube by taking a value of x, and we have written the value of x as cube by using its formula as x into x into x. Okay, if you want to do some other operations, you can simply do def cube of x comma y, return x minus y. So ultimately it's going to do subtraction. If we say cube x comma y and return x plus y, ultimately it's going to do an addition. So you can keep experimenting like this, and you can try various examples for the same thing. So yes, okay, just keep an eye on the program from here. So that's how we call the function. Now we have taken a name. Okay, instead of using magic, I have used my cube here. So, and method and arguments, it means we are passing two arguments here again, two values. Result is stored in the form of list. That's why we have mentioned list here. Okay, so as you all can see, result, the whole result has been stored here in the form of list. So that's why we were supposed to take it as a result, because we have passed the values from 1 to 8. We were supposed to store it in the form of list as always. For item in ARGS list, okay, result.append. As I told you, as we were going to take values of result by and apply your operation one by one. So basically what's happening here right now here is, so after applying the for loop, when we print my list, it means it's going to print the whole thing simply by applying the formula. So what's going to do is going to enter this function, enter inside this function. Okay, it will try to find out the result which is stored in the form of list, and inside the list, for every item in the list, it will find the result of it by appending it. Okay, it means it will take the first value. So here x equals to 1, then it will do the operation for it, that means x into x into x. So it will be first values cube, that is 1. Then it will move to the second value, that is 2 here. Okay, it will do the cube of 2, 2 into 2 into 2. It will pass the value in my list and will give an answer of 8. Again, for the next thing, it will pass the third value. It will do the cube of third value and store the value again in my list, so on and so forth. Whatever number of value you want to mention, instead of giving 1 to 8, you can randomly put any values, you will still get the answers. Okay, it's not like you are supposed to put it sequentially. So yeah, we have appended the values. Append means, as we all have learned in our third lecture of list and list functions. So append is a function of list where each and every value is stored in the list at the end. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, these values after every for loop, whenever new value is coming, it will be stored in the list at the end. So here after 8, if I mention 9, it will give 81 and store it. I'm sorry, what's the cube of 9? What's the cube of 9? I guess 6. Let's say 10. So 10,000. So it will be storing the value after this. Okay, immediately after this. And that's how it works. It will store the value in the end. Then we are going to return the result, as I told you, and the result is going to store in my list. Okay, so, and what my list is my cube, as I told you. Cube as in here it's taking the value of cube, and argument list, that is the name of list. So we have just mentioned what is the name of list here. Okay, I know it's kind of tricky. Even when I went through all this coding for the first time when I was learning Python, this whole thing seemed pretty tricky for me at first. But the only solution for this is practice, practice, and only practice. So as soon as you're practicing on it, I'm damn sure you will be able to get each and everything. So yeah, make sure you're practicing each and every day for Python. I hope. And yeah, those all who are Cyberfrat Plus member will get the recording of the sessions. Those who are not, make sure you are noting it down somewhere so that you can practice it at home by your own. Next thing we are moving on is nothing but scope. Okay, we are so on time. So last line should be out of, yeah, Kusham, great. Darling Ashia, hello. So can we pass string as object? Have you got the answer of this thing? I mean, have you tried it? Can we pass string as an object? Yes, Gayatri. So we can pass it, right? We can. I'll clear the screen. Again, moving on to the very last, but the most important topic of function, that is scope of function. Before moving on to that topic, I want to know whether each and every one of you is ready or not. So give me quick yeses immediately. All of you, can I get the old lecture videos? Yes, Divyanshu, if you're a Cyberfrat Plus member, you are definitely going to get the recordings of previous lectures stored in the Google Drive. So, but if you are not, unfortunately, you won't get it. It's especially, even this program was especially for Plus members, as this is a quarantine mode. So that's why we are giving it literally free for all students, live sessions. Okay, so make sure you are making use of it. So you can join in Cyberfrat Plus membership as at www.cyberfrat.com/join. /plus for the Plus membership. There, not just Python, whatever new technologies, trending technologies you want to learn, you will get all the sessions of the recorded session which we have done till the date there itself inside our DSP program, Digital Security Program. So yes, finally, okay, Kushang is the one who is ready right now. What about rest all? Are you ready for the scope of function? Final topic. Going bouncer, as I'm not engineer, I am chartered accountant from finance background. No worries, Jinesh. I totally understand as it's your first session. So learning function at the first lecture is going to be a bouncer, not just for you as a chartered accountant, but even if you would have been an engineer, it's going to be the same thing for almost everyone. Python is pretty easy language, to be very honest. It's the most simpler language, coding language that you can learn. And I guess you can take advantage of this thing. You can register yourself as Plus member so that you can attend previous 7 sessions we have done till the date. And make sure you're attending, even if you found it bouncer, I hope you have noted down each and everything we have done today's session. You can practice it out, and what sessions we have done previously. If possible, register yourself for Plus membership and avail all the sessions we have done till the date. And don't lose hope, because I'm damn sure if you attend all the 12 session and if you learn from it, I'm damn sure that you will be very confident to code in Python no matter what background you're coming from. Okay, so I've seen many students of mine previously who all were not from computer science background, who were from electronics and literally various different backgrounds, and those students have even coped up with Python, and they are a good programmer right now, doing data science in Python, AI in Python, and whatnot. So this language is making wonders in the world, and it's the most preferable language you all can see. So make sure, we'll try though. You are assisting well, and audience is too helpful. Yes, Dinesh, thank you so much. And I'm expecting a great response from your side for the last four sessions which are left. Before starting the session, I want a quick yes from everyone before starting the final topic. So is everyone ready to type out and learn scope with me? Divyanshu is ready. Ruchita is ready. Gayatri is ready. I can't understand functions can be passed into other function. Please explain me again. Darling Ashia. Okay. I just want to know your real name first of all, but never mind. I'll take out the topic in the end once we complete the scope function. Don't worry, I'll cover it for your better understanding. So as of now, I guess everyone is ready for the final, very important topic, that is scope. Before starting that topic, I want to show you something. So basically, scope are four types. Okay, so there are four types of scope: LEGB, local, then enclosing, global, and built-in. Okay, so I'll tell you what that is in detail. So scope, LEGB, this is the acronym for scope, for everyone to remember it, which was discovered, or which was given by Mark Lutz. Okay, so he found out in his book, he has mentioned the acronym for scope as LEGB, which is understood by everyone. So yeah, I got this copyrighted image from net today. So yeah, this was, I can explain to you basically what scope is. So here it is. So yeah, so basically the basic scope. So scope has four levels basically. First is local scope, then comes enclosing, which is in between local and global, then comes global, and built-in is the final scope. Okay, so those are the final scopes. Built-in, as the name itself indicates, it's something which is already predefined, which has already been done. So I'll explain it to you in detail what it is. Global, enclosing, and local, we are going to discuss shortly. So in diagrammatic format, I have mentioned, I've basically given for you better understanding. So it's like a loop, one inside another. So built-in is the final and major scope. Inside it, we have global, then enclosing, and then local. So we are going to learn everything one by one. Yeah. All right, so let's start with the local scope. So scope is what? It's nothing but variable which is available, I could say, from inside the region when it's created. It means whenever we are creating a variable, its value will be available through the start point where it has been created till the end of the program. Okay, so it means if we are mentioning any variable and its value, let's say x equal to 10, in any line, from that line till the function ends, the value of x equal to 10 will be applicable. That this is the simplest explanation I can give, which I don't think you will get anywhere. It's I'm telling this in very basic terms. Okay, so let's say I'm mentioning x equals to, okay, let's start typing out for your immediate understanding. So local function can be written as follows, typed as follows. So let's take a function def magic, my favorite. Okay, mention tab. Let's take a value of x as Where is x? Yeah, tab x equals to 100. I hope, Jinesh, you will understand this because scope is a very basic topic, and I'm damn sure you will understand this one at least. Print x. I'm supposed to take a tab and not space. Print x. And we are going to call the function here magic. Boom. Very basic line of codes that we do function. So here, this is an example of local. I'm sorry. Local scope. It means, so as you all can see, you can understand scope just by keeping one thing in your mind. Wherever you declare a scope, a variable and its value, okay, from that line till the end of function, the value of x will be printed like that, and that's why we call it as scope. So inside that region, the variable will be available with that value only. Okay, that's the simplest thing I could say. So I've taken a function magic here, we have mentioned a value of x here, and we are simply printing the value of x. Okay, and when we call a magic function, it will again go inside this loop, it will find that the value of x is 100, and ultimately it will print the value of x. So that's how we have got the value of L as 100. As the function, as the variable we have declared is inside the function, okay, it's inside this def function. That's why it is called as local function, local scope. Okay, now let's come to the next thing, which is called as enclosing. So enclosing, as I told you, it comes under global and local. So let's see how it works. So actually it's neither local and not global. So that's the reason it's called as enclosing, which means it's closing two functions or two scopes. So def, let's take an example as very weird. Okay, I'll just put some spaces so that you will be able to differentiate two different functions. So this was local scope. Now we are moving on to the next scope, that is enclosing scope. Def, I'm taking the color. I'm taking this colors red and blue because those are the color of Cyberfrag logo, which means defensive mode and risk analysis mode, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, I've taken one color red. Inside that, I'm giving a value of a as 1. Now again inside that, I'm defining another function. So yeah, darling Ashia, you didn't understand how to take one function inside other. So here is the very simplest example for your better understanding. So make sure you are giving your 100% in listening. Okay, so here we have called one function inside another. We have gone through the next function, b equals to 2, and let's print both the values here and let's see what happens. Print, print b. Now we are not inside this function. Okay, this function, def function, was still here, and this value that we are going to print here, that is, we are going to call the function blue here itself. Okay, and we are again going to print the value of a. Now let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm gonna explain to you what's happening here step by step. Okay, so here we have made we have taken a function which has value as a equals to 1. So here value a is above this function, and value a is inside this function as well. Okay, so that's why it's neither global, as you all can see, or I would say it's both global. Global means outside the function, and local means inside the function. So here a, for the function red, the value of a is local, and here for the function b, it's global. Okay, so let's see how it gets printed. I will call the function red c 1 to 1. So let's see what is happening here. We are calling a function red. it means the cursor is going to this line, first line. Okay, now inside the function, it has initiated the value of a as 1. We have moved on to the second function, which has initiated the value of b as 2. Now it will print value as print value of a, which is 1 here. So as a was a global function here, which I'll be taking a next example of what global function is. It means whatever value, whenever we call a function a here, whenever we try to find the value of a here, it will print the value as 1, as we have mentioned is here above. So it will print the value of a as 1. It will print the value of b as 2 as a local variable. Here a as global variable because it's outside the blue function. Okay. Then we will call the blue function and we'll print the value of a. For blue function, the value of a is a local variable. I'm sorry, a global variable. And for the function red, it's a local variable. So it has been merged. The value of a has been merged inside a red and blue function. And that's why it is called as enclosing function. So this means your function is not going to get wrong. It's not going to give you an error because logically it's correct. We are giving the values inside the function as well as outside the function. So basically we are merging two functions by substituting one value inside it. So it's going to call the value accordingly. Here the value of a has been called as global, and here the value of b is called as local. And here the third value of a equals to 1 is called as local here because we are calling grade function. As simple as I know. Again enter some spaces. Yeah. So for global, let's declare x equal to 300 or 100. No, never mind. Def magic. We are calling a function. Inside a function, we are printing the value of x. Then we are calling magic of x. That's it. Or even you can say print x. You will get the same value. So this actually is what global is. Okay, if the value of a variable has been declared outside a function, it is called as global variable. As I told you, this much part could be considered as a global variable. So here we have declared a function one inside another. That's why it's called as enclosing function. This could be the simplest example of enclosing, believe me. Okay, when I learned it for the first time, that example was completely bouncer to me. Anyways, still in case if you have any doubt about this, just shoot anytime in your chat box. But I hope you all have understood it. Now let's take another example, I would say, of global variable, which would be understood by you everyone. So x equals to, let's say 300. Def magic. I'm calling a magic function here again. Okay. Here I have given another value of x. Okay, this is called as naming variable. I mean this whole state of code, or the way it's going to get run, it's called, this whole thing is called as naming variable. I've given the value of x equal to 200. Now I'm going to print the x. Yeah. And let's call the function. Magic means we are simply calling this function. As I told you, here it is formal parameter, means we are declaring a function, and here we are calling a function, that means actual parameter. So these two magics are actually different and not the same, though the name is same. But when Python, the system of Python understands it, it understands it with two different ways. So this magic and this magic is actually not simple, though it looks simple to same to us, but actually it's not same. This is declaring magic and this is calling magic. So boom. Yeah, so though we have called a global function, we have got the value of x equal to 200. Why? Can anyone tell me in one simple line? Else I'll be telling you shortly. But anyone knows, anyone can explain it to me? Just try to stress your brain a bit and try to figure out why this thing has happened. Here both x are different. Exactly. As our both magics are different, so that was the hint actually. As both of the magic functions are different here, the both values of x is not same. Here this x of 300 and x through 200 is not same at all. These two x values are totally different. For our visualization, we are seeing that x is 300, x is 200. But actually inside the function or inside the Python system, it takes these two values are as different values. And that's why, as we have mentioned inside the def function as 200, it's first gonna print the local value. So the priority has always been given to local value here. And as we are calling the magic function, it's going to give us a value as 200. Okay, let's take another example. So I want to tell you a second last thing for today's session. It's called as it's called as global keyword. It means if you are writing down any function, okay, and if you want to declare any variable inside a loop, okay, so it means inside this, if you want to declare this variable as global, so you can simply declare it by mentioning a keyword global. So global is a keyword used to mention any of the function value globally. It means if you mention global x equal to 200 here, it's going to overlap this value or modify this value, and it's going to print 200 in the same way. Anyways, here we have got magic of x as 200. What if we want to get the value of x as 300 here? So we will simply print the value of x in basic ways, so that we'll get the value 300. Are you getting how this loop is working? Inside the function, if we print x, and if we call the function, we will get the value as 200. But if we are simply printing the value of x, we are getting it as 300. As simple as that. Okay. So if you want to simply call a value, so you can a function, global function, you can simply print it. And to call a function, you have to literally call the function here and give it to get its actual value, which has been stored inside it, which is 300. So yes, I will put some spaces here so for you to understand the next thing. Now I'm going to explain you the second last part, that is global keyword. So def magic, and let's say global x. Okay, now x equals to 300. Now here the value of x, though we have mentioned it inside this loop or inside this function, this value of x is actually a global value, as we have declared the x as global here. So that's a very important keyword. Now let's call the function. Why it's not calling? Oh yeah, we didn't print it. No issues. Let's print it. Boom. I was supposed to print here itself, but anyhow, it's going to give the same value. So yeah, no matter whatever value we are taking, be it inside the loop or outside the loop, here both x are different. X under magic function is local variable, x outside magic function is global variable. Exactly, Kusha. So yeah, I guess you explained this for the previous example, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So here, if we if we mention the value of function as using a keyword global, it will come outside. So here what I have done is I have print x. So to print the global value, we print x. Just compare this example with this example. I've printed x and got the value as 300, though it's inside this loop. Why? Because I have declared as global x. It means this x equal to 300 is nothing but on this line as x equal to 300. Okay, it's actually outside the loop. For our visualization, we are seeing it inside, but inside the Python programming, when it runs in the background, it declares it as global, and that's how we get the value. Now for your better understanding, let's take one more example. Okay, so here I'll be taking two different values. So accordingly, you will be able to understand. Def x equals to 300 is a global function, and I'm taking is a global variable. Now let's call a function global variable as global x. And now I'm gonna give here a value as x equal to 200. Now I'm going to call magic. So yeah, I guess instead of this example, I guess you will be able to understand with this example in better ways. So yeah, and now print x. Boom. What has happened here? This x was basically declared as global variable, and this was local. Okay, but as we have declared it as global variable, this x, so ultimately it's going to overlap this value of x equal to 300. It's simply overlapping or modifying the value of x as 200, and we are getting the output as 200 here. As simple as that. I hope everyone has got it. Moving on to the very final topic of today's session. So yeah, I guess I've taken lot many examples, so make sure you are trying it by yourself and you are literally practicing it. You are experimenting. Try experimenting with the coding. No matter how many errors you get, never lose hope. Keep trying, and solving error in Python is pretty easy, as we all have got many errors here as well. Okay, but we didn't give up the hope, and that's how we have got uh, our answer. So solving, as you all can see, clearing the errors in Python or debugging it, it's pretty easy task. So that's why I would suggest you to keep practicing, keep experimenting with your coding, and do as many examples as you can. So the last part is built-in. So I won't be taking any example of built-in because it doesn't exist as such. Because built-in is nothing but, as I told you, it's a predefined set of functions. So what is predefined set? This def, this print, okay, this global, for, if, list, dictionaries. These are the predefined keywords of Python. So when you write a program, okay, if it's not able to run it according to the code, if you are not able to get your output as per the code, and if you are getting output as a none, there lot many time it happens that we get an output as none because they not because the syntax is wrong, but the value which we are declaring in function doesn't get executed properly, so we get an output as none. Okay, there, instead of giving an error, why it gives us none? Because it runs at least this function. So these keywords are run inside the function. So the fourth, last, and the most important or most basic scope of Python of function is uh, built-in scope, which means whatever keywords we have inside the function or inside the whole program, if nothing is getting executed, it will at least execute the keywords. And if the syntax is right, instead of giving an error to us, if we are what I can say, if we are submitting any value but still it's not getting executed, so instead of getting an error, if the syntax is correct, we will get the answer as none, because it will run at least these things, at least def, print, global, or this kind of basic keywords which are already predefined. It will run that, and that's how predefined works. So if none of your program or none of your code works, at least these things can be executed inside the function, and that's why it's called as predefined built-in function, which means nothing but as you all have learned sets in algebra, right? So the universal set, so built-in function is nothing but a universal set in which it has subsets. So as we all have seen inside this diagram, so here built-in is a universal set which contains global scope. Global scope has enclosing, and local is a very basic scope. So that's what scope in Python is. I hope everyone has understood. If you have any questions right now, shoot it out immediately. If you don't have any question, thanks for attending today's session. Immediately give me your feedback, or if you have any session, any suggestion for the upcoming session, whether it was good, if you need any improvement, anything you can mention in your chat box immediately. Else we are good to quit it. So yeah, any suggestions from your side, or what the way it is happening, you want to continue it in the same way for tomorrow and day after tomorrow? Just mention in your chat box quickly. I hope you all are awake. Can you open the scope JPG? Sure, Jinesh. So built-in global enclosing local. So yeah, basically you can understand it or keep in mind as LEGB. L for local, E for enclosing, G for global, and built-in. So it's an acronym given to it. So yeah, that's it for today's session. If you have any queries, shoot, or bye. So